What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. Hope that you guys are having a wonderful evening. So, Real Housewives of Atlanta alum Peter Thomas has pled guilty to tax fraud and he is sentenced to 18 months in prison. He wrote on Instagram, "All young business owners, please learn from my mistake." The verdict was reached today, December 18th. And following his sentence, Peter Thomas, who is the ex husband of Cynthia Bailey, will undergo 2 years of supervised release and pay $2.5 million in restitution. Thomas's sentencing comes after the Baltimore Banner reported that a federal prosecutor memo regarding the case aimed to justify a prison sentence on December 10th. Thomas, who is the owner of Bar One Restaurants, was accused of failing to pay employment taxes for his businesses and instead spent just under $375,000 on travel and ride sharing services, as well as $250,000 on luxury goods from Neiman Marcus, Prada, Louis Vuitton, and Givenchy, and so much more. Thomas's violation of his federal payroll tax obligations over many years that served to unjustly enrich his companies and himself by more than $2.5 million and deprive the federal government funds used to provide important retirement and disability benefits to the employees, the memo reportedly read. Per the outlet, the sentencing memo stated that the entrepreneur was motivated by greed, adding that Thomas defied the tax laws, expanding his businesses, hiring more employees, increasing overhead, and adding more business locations at the expense of his legal obligations. In the summer, Thomas also pled guilty to failing to pay trust fund taxes after he was accused of evading taxes for several of his businesses between 2017 in 2023. One day before receiving his sentence, the former reality star shared a message regarding his decision to plead guilty in a video on Instagram. He says, quote, "I'll be making an appearance in the United States government federal courthouse here in Charlotte, North Carolina to face the music of consistently withholding taxes for my businesses for over 10 years." Peter, not a decade. That is crazy. Oh my goodness. He said, "I thought it was something I could rectify by getting on that payment plan and paying it, but it doesn't work like that." You can't stiff the government for 10 years and think that you're going to walk free. That is ridiculous. Sir, this is not Jamaica. And shout out to, Wagwan, Jamaica. I love it. My uncle's from Kingston. But I'm just sitting here like, we don't have the laid back island culture that they like the US. They don't play those games when it comes to taxes. I mean, you learned today, but 10 years, how long was that payment plan? And they were trying to work with you. Wow. It says in his caption, Thomas told other small business owners to learn from his mistakes. Public announcement: most people are confused when it comes to paying withholding taxes. I'm here to set the record straight. Yes, you will go. Oh, you will go to jail. Yes, you have to still pay your taxes. Also, jail don't mean that the taxes is forgiven. All young business owners, please learn from my mistake. Peter, oh my goodness, not okay. Here's the thing, right? I understand the businesses go up and down. With COVID, a lot of people were had their PPP loans forgiven because the world essentially stopped. And the government a lot of times are willing, like you said, to set you up on a payment plan to work with you because times get hard, inflation, etc. But 10 years, and they saw all the things that you were doing with that money, so you weren't trying to, you know, invest them back into your businesses. You were out here. Let me go back and read because they had it down to um all the designer brands. He's okay. They said specifically that you spent under $375,000 on travel and ride sharing services. The government was like, okay, that money could have gone to us, as well as $250,000 on luxury goods from Neiman Marcus, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Givenchy, and more. Peter, see, you can't play in people's faces like that. The IRS, they're not like your employees. They're not understanding like your ex-wife, Cynthia Bailey, which she was about to take you to court as well, but you paid her. I think you settled out of court. Um, Man, that is so crazy that you would take all that money that you were supposed to be paying in taxes and you're out here blowing it on luxury items and travel and rideshare. That that's so responsible, Peter. So I hope that, young people, all business owners take your advice. I mean, I'm a business owner myself. I'm my only employee for now, but um payroll is that's a huge responsibility. I'm not, established enough in my business. I'm a solopreneur, as they call it, but I'm not established enough on my business to take somebody else's expenses on because that's their livelihood. You know what I mean? If they have like kids, like that would just make me feel horrible. I can't understand why you were able to sleep well at night and just, not care about your employees. Your old manager said that, she would let some of them stay overnight at the restaurant in Miami because they were being evicted because you didn't pay them, you know? Like that's people's lives that you're dealing with while you're out here shopping and, and even that is Neiman Marcus luxury. So sorry. No shade to Neiman Marcus. I mean, I guess so. I thought it was like Macy's. Um, but either way, I mean, here's my thing, right? Italian designers are, they handcraft a lot of their materials, or at least they used to. Some of the best in the world. But in my opinion, I feel like, Prada, Louis, all these designers, it would have been cheaper for you to fly to Italy and buy them there. Real talk. 250,000? Yeah, that's no. Um, or you could have, not had the labels and just had the Italian craftsmanship. Um, and then $375,000 on travel and ride sharing services. So you must have been getting like limousines and things like that. And listen, Peter, that's why you're going to prison. It's not that you had a financial hardship, but you didn't pay your taxes for a whole decade, and then you were out here playing in the government's face. Like, don't think that they don't pocket watch everybody because they do. Uncle Sam wants his money. The only place that Uncle Sam's not pocket watching is the Pentagon, who just failed their seventh or eighth straight audit or whatever. They know where that money is going, obviously. Um, and yes, we have billions of dollars to send to, the Ukraine and Israel and all these other countries overseas while people are struggling here with just basic, material goods. But what you cannot do is defraud your own employees and the federal government for 10 consecutive years. If you set up a payment plan, you gave your word as a man, you need to pay that and not play in these people's faces out here shopping at all these luxury stores and traveling all these different places. Like the government, they're going to check that. Like that's what the IRS does very well, I might add. They didn't get Al Capone or anything else except tax evasion. They let everything else slide. He was one of the most notorious gangsters in American history. They said, he was, whacking people left and right. They didn't care. They turned a blind eye. But when it came to their coin, okay, their dollar bill, they said, oh no, that's where we draw the line. Oh my goodness. And it's not even funny, but I'm just like, people are so obsessed with money, especially nowadays, because money is scarce. I mean, look at how they did Luigi Mangione. I don't know if you guys have seen the most recent pictures. I need to make a whole new video about it. They were walking him out like he was Bane or like a serial unaliver. This man only got one person, and he had half of the NYPD walking him, in his orange jumpsuit, but they were acting like, they had more smoke for him than they did with that guy in Uvalde, Texas, or Sandy Hook, or any of these other schools, right? And I mean, they'll take out multiple people with these school incidents. I'll say that. But this one CEO, his life and his position, right? It represents the capital in our society. They are losing their minds. The governor of New York is actually having, like, what does she say, a CEO safe space, where she's trying to calm down a lot of the CEOs in New York. They are shook just from this one incident. So, Peter, you being on a payment plan wasn't the issue. It was, essentially wage theft from your employees. And I don't even think that was the issue with the IRS, although they named it in there. It was the fact that you were playing in their face, doing all of this unnecessary spending with travel, ride share, and luxury goods, and then not keeping your word on the payment plan. That was the issue. Defrauding your employees, however, is horrible, and I really hope that he does pay that restitution, the 2.5, and I hope that money, some of that money, goes back to the employees, even if it is, 18 months later. That's still money that they earned, because there's no reason why they should have had to sleep in the restaurant. And then on top of that, the manager was telling Tasha K, that you were reprimanding her, saying like, "Oh, well, what do you think this is? I'm not a social worker." No, sir, you're essentially a horrible boss and someone who's stealing from your employees and not paying them their wages that they've owned. That's against labor laws. I'm surprised they didn't get you with that, you know. But like I said, the federal government, they care about their money first. Um, so yeah, he's sentenced to 18 months in prison, and I will keep you guys updated. But like he said, hopefully business owners, young and old, can learn from his mistake and not defraud their employees, not defraud the government, because the last thing you want is have to spend, you know, any amount of time in your life in prison. I can't even imagine it. Um, and it's horrible because he's what, 64 years old. These are your golden years. These are when you should be relaxing, and you know what I mean, like making your money work for you. I don't know if you have any children, but these are the times where you're to pass down your legacy and have them, actively working in your restaurants, if you would have run them with, in an ethical fashion, and been paying your employees and paying the government, so that you could have, had that passive income, and you could be relaxing, not necessarily, spending six figures on stores, or, six figures on just foolishness, in my opinion, travel and ride share. Like, you don't need, I mean, if you're going to travel, do so sensibly. You don't have to spend all that money. You could have spent a fraction of that money, got to where you wanted to go, you know, had an Uber or whatever, something sensible, and then stayed at a really nice hotel room. But again, been sensible about it, and gave the rest of that money to your employees and the government, and stay out of jail and enjoyed your freedom. This is a lesson well learned. I wish Peter all the best. I hope that, he does learn from this and he grows from this. I hope that he stays out of the restaurant business. It doesn't sound like that's a good place for him. Maybe he'll write a book in prison. Who knows? But anyway, you guys, let me know your thoughts. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.